Hello in TV land, it's your boy Freelancer Joe, and it is that time of the week again for Drinks with Joe. Yes, because I already mucked that up. I took the time to set this all up, and I even got my bullet points all set up, and I just mucked the intro. Let me lower the volume first. So as I was saying, Drinks with Joe, which is when we take a retrospective look at my past week, because if you want to get to some specific place in the future, it helps to pay attention to where you've been in the past. Wow. One of these days, well, not one of these days, it'll probably be in a few months, maybe a year, I might have a whole routine down where things actually work a lot better. But for now, we're just gonna muddle along. And to help with the muddling, I'm gonna go ahead and pour that drink. And I certainly hope that you take the time to pour a drink too. Or whatever it is. Well, I mean, even if you don't drink, you don't need to consume fluids unless you are an alien from the future. An alien life form that does not require such nourishment. Maybe you have evolved to a higher plane of existence where your body is not constrained by such things. In which case, good for you. But while I'm pouring this drink, I'll also take the opportunity to ask you how you doing. You doing good and fine? Wonderful? Fantastic even? I certainly hope so. Because you've taken the time to join me. And I do appreciate that. Yeah. Oh. So I had mentioned before that I was a little worried that the supermarket was going to stop carrying my brand, Lacroix. And it looks like my, I wouldn't say fears were founded. Concerns? Yeah, my concerns do appear to have been founded. Yeah, they, at least if they still have them, they're hiding them somewhere. But there was an alternative there, not that I've tried it yet. I mean, I purchased them. It's called Waterloo. Must be, I guess if you have the flavored waters that are natural, you gotta have a French name, I guess. I don't know. No, that's not entirely true. I mean, I've tried one other one before. It was called Bubbly, B-U-B-L-Y, but maybe that's a French word too. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't tried the Waterloos yet, but they at least do have a coconut, although their flavors, at least the ones that I saw, were all like, other flavors were all like primary, not primary, but all one thing, like orange or grapefruit or mango, whereas Lacroix, I mean, they had one flavor ones too, but they also mixed a lot of things, like peach pear, cran and raspberry. I'm hoping it's good. I mean, well, I'll find out, and I might not find out until the end of the week actually, because I still have quite a few of the Lacroix left over. You know, if I'm going to be slurring words, I at least better have the excuse of having had a drink. All right, now I'm free to slur words, and I can blame the alcohol. Yeah. I do have the bullet points, so once again my eyes will probably be shifting. I guess, I mean, if I positioned the camera, well, I'd have to move the camera there, and then I'd be like this, which, I mean, this is my good side. Well, this is my good side too. This is my good side too. As you can see, all my sides are good. But yeah. But that would mean I'd have to move the monitor or move the camera or tilt like this and that means doing things, and I haven't done jack squat today. That's not entirely true. But I have done very little of productive stuff. If you hear the buzzing, the one productive thing I have been doing is my, what was this? Yeah, my continued conversion of physical media to digital. And it's taken a while. I gotta be honest, at this current pace, I suspect I won't be done until sometime the beginning of next year. I mean, I guess if I made a concerted effort, I could be certain I finished before the end of the year. But I'm not sure. Yes. Let me do that. But had a scare. A bit of a scare. So, if you had remember before, I had been thinking that my initial idea was that I would upload these things to the cloud. And I kind of backed off of that because it would take an additional ridiculous amount of time just to do the upload. But I was just going to do physical backups of the digital copies, and it was going to be two-factor, right? One was going to be on an external hard drive, of which I have this, and then the other one was on Blu-ray discs, because I figured I could probably fit everything on a much smaller, much fewer discs than on the DVDs or in their uncompressed forms. But not fortunately, but until I got around to doing the DVD burns, I had gotten a second one. And he's like, you'd be like, Freelancer Joe, that seems awfully redundant and pointless, right? Well, as it turns out, well, plus and minus. So I had backed up everything onto this one, and then I was kind of using this as my back and forth transfer thing. And then this guy had a problem. Basically, he became unreadable and would not mount. And fortunately, I was able to recover it and reformat it, although it took a couple hours to figure everything out. But yeah, I got it back. But it goes to show that even though these things are pretty solid, I mean, they can have issues, and that's why you want to always have at least two. And to be honest, now I'm thinking I probably want three. And I hope that this one doesn't go bad or have an issue before I'm able to copy everything onto this. But yeah, and I've always been iffy of external hard drives. I've always seemed to have issues with them. Flash drives, for whatever reason, and I would consider these to be flash drives too, but they're not. But flash drives have never given me an issue, but external hard drives, they have issues far more often than I'd like. I say far more often, but I really only had one before. And now this is three, but now I've had two issues, so yeah. So keep copies of your data, keep multiple copies of your data, especially if it's very important data. Actually, that's the only reason you want to keep copies. The other stuff you can whatever. But things that would be hard to kind of recover or reconstruct, yeah, really, really important. It also means I really should probably consider doing the Blu-ray burns too, but no, especially when you consider how much progress I've done. I don't know how much. Where would I put myself at? 50% maybe? I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm almost certain I'm going to uncover like a hidden cache of DVDs that I totally forgot about. Oh, and then I still actually have to kind of organize the stuff once everything's converted. Well, I don't have to, but I probably should. But there's that. So that's that. Let me check my bullet points real quick. Alright, so we talked about Lacroix. Yes. We talked about my bullet points. Yes. We mentioned that I haven't done squat. Yes. And the Buzz external hard drives. Man, I think I should have put some notes in there to say kind of slow things down. Or maybe this is the drawback of not having done anything. I have pent up energy. And that's just really weird because I thought that I wasn't doing anything because I didn't have energy. But I guess maybe, or maybe it's not because the heater kind of kicked on and it's warmed up a little bit. Okay, so the next thing we're going to cover is my freelancer stuff, which really should take up the bulk of this retrospective. It's interesting how this is kind of evolved. I say evolved. I'm sure some people would say devolved into just a general recap of my not entire life, but the more relevant point. If it's how would I consider it relevant? The points in my life that I want to keep track of. You'd figure I'd want to keep track of all the points in my life. And not that that's a lot of things to keep track of, but things that I want to make sure are going in the right direction. See, because you say things like that, and then, but you want everything in your life to go forward in the right direction. The things that I'm currently making the effort to make sure that they're going forward in the right direction. All right, freelancer. So the beginning of the week was, oh yeah. So on my website, the social link buttons in the bottom bar were not opening correctly. Small thing, a minor thing, but since my website is how I represent myself to my potential client base, it would look very poorly if it didn't work. So that definitely became a high priority thing to fix. I was really fortunate about how I managed to notice that wasn't working. But basically my honey bunny asked for the link to my YouTube channel, and I don't remember what the link is because I know it's youtube.com/ some gibberish. But it's not gibberish, it's a hash of some kind. I assume it's a hash of a UUID, but it could just be a UUID. Hard to say. Anyway, so I don't remember it, but I said, well, you know what? It's on my website, and I remember my website URL, which is freelancerjoe.com. Check it out and bookmark it if you haven't yet. So I brought that up, and then I clicked on the YouTube link button because then I was just gonna copy the link in the message to my honey bunny, but it didn't come up, and that's how I found out it was not working. But clearly it had to have been working at some point before, so when did it change? If I really wanted to know when it changed, I would actually have to go into GitHub and then look through the history of changes to that particular file. But off the cuff, I can tell you exactly what happened is that it was all working before fine, and then I did my refactoring to common code, and that's when I came up with my content view component. And then I probably copied the contents of that, or at least parts of it, into the splash view, which is the main page, because that was the only page where my links actually didn't work. Oh no, maybe it was oh no, okay. Right, so now I'm really guessing, but I think this was right. It's when I removed custom scroll bars. I'm sorry, I removed the custom scroll bars. When I had the custom scroll bars in there, basically it was the top bar, the content, custom scroll bars, and then the bottom bar. But then I removed the custom scroll bars, and I decided instead of having the top bar and the bottom bar be fixed, I would just have the bottom bar always at the full bottom. And so I moved the bottom bar code deeper, nested it deeper. Anyway, so it worked fine in the content view stuff, which is like my portfolio page, my services, all that other stuff. But because Splash View was a little different, when I copied the code from the other ones, it didn't work. But since I didn't do full testing of it, I didn't notice it. Which is, again, it's why I say that, you know, really good, true testers, one, are actually very important to any particular project, and two, probably underappreciated. Well, good, competent testers. They're also very difficult to find, too. I've worked with a few. Real solid types, and they've caught things that I missed, which is how I began to appreciate them more. But lots of times, it turns out that they're just as bad as coders when it comes to testing stuff. And that's assuming you get at least ones that you can get along with. Other times, well, I'm a bit of a misanthrope, so it's not just testers. I'm sure you find the same types in all other fields. But we're at the 15-minute mark, and I still haven't gotten around to figuring out how to prevent this thing from stopping recording after 15 minutes or so. So we'll break for an intermission, and we'll be back in just a bit. And we are back. I didn't spend too much of a time on break. I just went ahead and looked for some memes. Looked through some memes. I got to pick one that I used for the intermission. And I picked, I think, one that kind of tickled my fancy a bit. I saw an article fairly recently about declining birth rates in, well, just birth rates in general. And yeah, it's pretty bad for a lot of the Western nations. Not that I've done my part. One, not, well, one that hasn't been proven, and two, the provable ones, not yet. I chuckle at that. But I understand. It's kind of a tricky one, right? I mean, kids are a commitment, to be sure, and they change your life forever. Well, they leave marks on your life, even after they reach adulthood and move on. But then again, I think for most people, and the people that are not willing to make that kind of sacrifice and accept that kind of hardship, probably shouldn't raise kids. But then the other way to look at it, though, is they really should reevaluate what exactly they're leaving behind, you know? But then again, maybe they're just living moment to moment, but, well, I would say who am I to judge, but I'm Freelancer Joe, so I can judge away. But, you know, at the end of the day, everybody makes their own decisions. It is what it is. But at the very least, we get funny memes like the one that you saw during the intermission. It jabs at many, well, not many subjects, at least based on what I said, and then two, the crazy old cat lady one. Alright, but back to what we should be talking about, which is my week in review. So we talked about my freelancer activities in the first part of the week. Actually, probably just the first day, because it didn't take very long to fix, was the social links. And then the second part, after that, I moved on to working on the calendar. So we picked the big calendar library, which is the React.js library. And you got it installed. We got a basic one example working, and kind of played around with the styles a little bit just so I know I figured out how I could change it. So that's all good. But then we took a break at setting it up for dynamic events. It's an event calendar. I believe I had discussed the various options we could have done. We could have done a configuration file, which was not good because I would have had to redeploy the entire thing. We could have done an external file, but that was not good because of a performance issue that could have aroused, which probably not all that bad, but and based on my current architecture, it would have caused a hit against S3, which not good because that works against the threshold. Plus S3, yeah, S3 itself is not guaranteed to be fast. I mean Amazon has benchmarks about the worst case behavior you should expect to see, and you know they generally exceed that, but they don't guarantee it to be fast. So decided to go with a Lambda that talks to a DynamoDB table. And I believe I had stopped at the part where my code was, I was modifying the code in the demo project to actually make a call to a Lambda, which I haven't written yet. So tomorrow I should continue that, unless I do some work off camera, which based on today's momentum, probably not going to happen. And actually there's something else I really need to work on anyway, so we'll get into that later. Maybe, possibly. Actually, the thing I want to do off camera is start getting into Vue.js, experimenting with that and picking that up. And I believe I've mentioned before why I would be interested in doing that. Because it is fairly popular among customer requests for how things are done in this particular field. So, you know, that would expand my skill set both on the freelancer side as well as professionally too. I mean, in my real job, my work job, it can't hurt to be able to say I could do it this way or I could do it this way. So, the only thing it could potentially hurt is because you know how freelancer Joe feels about picking up information that he doesn't necessarily use. Well, that he doesn't use. I mean, unless I actually enjoy the information, like the history of a video game or something. Yeah. But, yeah, there's that. And then, customers, right. So I still haven't reached out to the one client I do have, Bill of Music School. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. But I'm not really all that forceful, because they know I'm still here, and since I'm doing it pro bono for them anyway, you know, they can always come to me when they're ready. And I don't want to make them feel, I don't want them to feel pressured, because they are friends. So there's that. But I did reach out. I had mentioned a while ago that I had a potential lead, and I did reach out to that one, and what they had been working on has kind of gone on the wayside. I suspected as much when I saw it. That's why I didn't volunteer the first time about doing a lot of work for it. But they do know that I'm taking requests, as it were. So that's another active point, at least. So we'll see how it goes. And that particular potential customer always has ideas. It's just making the commitment to have them executed. That's a little different, but we'll see. And that covers it for freelancer. Still not going to necessarily say that I've made the big step into the next phase, but it feels like there's more momentum now, which is a good thing. Which is a very good thing. Okay, let's see, we're about the halfway point. Okay, so on the personal side of things, as you can tell about how jacked I'm looking, I mean, always jacked of course, but even, well, I would say more jacked than normal, because today was my rest day. When I said it, I did jack squat today, I did jack squat. I didn't even do any squats. But that's okay, because Saturday's my training rest day. But as far as training goes, I completed week 2 of my training cycle, my 6 to 8 week training cycle, and overall, I would say I'm fairly happy where I'm at. The strength is about right. I mean, I'm still, some of the exercises, I'm still kind of testing them. Well, and really, it's only the deadlift that I'm not pushing myself back up to where I was before I took my break. But I did increase the weight slightly, and I also increased the weight on my squats, I believe, too. So, back and front. And, yeah, those are pretty good. So, I didn't really lose all that much from taking the break as far as strength goes. Now, why am I not pushing myself on the deadlift? Well, mostly because when I stopped before, I really felt that I was kind of, I'm not going to necessarily say, I was at the limit of easy gains. It's almost where I would have to make a serious effort to increase muscle, which involves eating lots of protein, of course, to help build muscle, but that involves adding on mass and adding on weight, and I'm really not trying to add weight, so we'll see. We'll see. But at least what I did on Friday for the deadlift, I still feel like, okay, I should be able to get within striking distance of where I was before I stopped. And where I stopped was, when I increased my mama, this is definitely kicking in. So when I do a training exercise, I put on a certain amount of weight and I do it like 5 sets. But for the deadlift one, I had to actually, instead of increasing the weight and then doing the 5 sets, I had to do like, I only increased the weight for 1 set at the end, because I tried doing it all 5 like the week before, and I basically failed at the 2nd set, so that was not good. So that's why I believe I might be at the upper limit of deadlift strength, at least on the current diet. And we'll see. But other than that, I mean, so the strength's right. I still haven't fully recovered from the weight gain, anyway, during the off time. But I'm pretty close. I would say, what, about 5 pounds off? It's just not bad. I keep forgetting that as your overall weight gets lower, I mean, the percentage that, say, even a pound meat makes accounts for a lot more. So obviously it's become a lot harder. But overall, that's pretty good. So strength's about right. Pretty close as far as recovering from weight gain. And no warning injuries so far. The knee was a little hinky at the beginning of the week, but no, it's fine. I was careful on that. And I believe I had mentioned the right side was a little hinky too. But I had, the entire week I didn't do any of my hammer pull-ups, which I figured was what was triggering it. And I just did the chin-ups and the normal pull-ups. And by being careful and not completely fully extending, yeah, so that's pretty solid. So that should be good. And then on work. Well, work is kind of a big one, and this is also, I suspect, why I haven't been pushing too hard on the freelancer activities. It looks like I will be starting a new position with the same company. I have no reason to leave the company. They treated me excellently, and I like them. So, you know, hey, you treat me right, I treat you right. It's pretty easy. I'll treat you right first, and I assume that you reciprocate. But yeah, should be starting a new position by the end of the month. It shouldn't disrupt my schedule, although the first few months the commute's a little bit further, but some springtime next year it actually might commute should be shorter as they move to a different location. But overall, this is a good thing. I mean, my current project is kind of, yeah, I get paid, but I'm not, it's busy work at best. Otherwise, it's just, if you thought I was spinning my wheels doing nothing like the past couple weeks on my freelancer stuff, you haven't seen me at my real job. It's not just me, it's just, they're just trying to figure out what they should do, which is not so good, because you don't bring together talent if you don't really know what you're doing. It's kind of a waste. And at least the new place, the way it's pitched to me, sounds like there's lots of opportunities, and there probably are. But I'm not going to say how many times I've been sold a position, and then all the good things that should have been there, not that they are not there, it's just that you get there and then they go away, because things change. But an overall change is good. As much as I am a creature of habit, and I am, there's always a danger of stagnation regardless. And I've been in my current environment for about 6 years now. Different projects, but the same environment. And that's where things can get really stagnant. Even if you do things slightly different, you're still in the same environment. And I think that's the biggest thing. So, we'll see, and I'll give it some more thought. But we are just about at the 15-minute mark, so I am going to wrap this up for now. Thank you for joining me. Comments and suggestions and cool kid words about liking and subscribing, of course. I hope that you've enjoyed your drink, or whatever it is you've had, and I'll hope you join me tomorrow when we get back to actual work. So tomorrow I will be doing just a little bit more than jack squat. And until then, I hope that you have a wonderful Saturday and weekend, and that you take care, and God bless.